D&D Players, what's your favorite level range to play in? 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 10 to 20? Let us know in the comments below. Many people don't like to start at level 1 and start at level 3 instead. Most people don't ever go to level 20 either because they don't like high level play or because their campaign peters out. But what's your favorite level range to play in? What is the sweet spot for you in D&D where everything just feels right? And do you skip the levels before? Do you continue after? Absolutely 3 to 10. The game shines there. 1 to 2 characters are very fragile, which is fun but not inviting to newbies, and post 11 players get so powerful, basically every fight they steamroll or it's a slog. They also trivialize survival mechanics and exploration. Basically, no door or trap will ever stop them. Don't get me wrong, I've taken 2 parties to level 18 and it's a blast, just not easy and it's hard on the DM. 5 to 7 plus, depending on what I want to do. I have a barbarian fighter that doesn't feel fully realized until level 8, and I have a wizard that feels fully realized at level 2, but in general, I prefer to play in tiers 2 to 4 and run in tiers 2 to 3. 5 to 20. Basically everything is fun except for tier 1. Though different tiers offer drastically different play experiences, and obviously tier 4 is only sustainable for limited amounts of time if wizards or bards are in the picture. 80 to 20 plus. It's delightful to have long-term impacts on the game world that are present in future campaigns. Probably 10 to 15, when you can do very cool things and combat strong enemies, but without too much of the random bullshit go of the last levels. I actually love the feels of levels 1 to 3. I just love the characters and generally low-stakes stories that have 1 to 3. And I love the vulnerability. Forces me to be more cautious and think more carefully about my actions, unlike the more heroic nature of later levels. Starting at 5 and going to at least 10 to 11 feels good. Feels better to go higher, but the latter part of tier 3 and all of tier 4 doesn't really have the best support. Levels 1 through 4 is an absolute slog unless you advance every session for non-new players. 5th edition in its early levels isn't the most interesting game, unlike a lot of other systems. I like any level, but level 6 is where a lot of stuff starts popping off. Multi-class builds get solid at 3 to 3 or 2 to 4. Solo class builds start getting core features. Hitting level 6 is just a great time. Simple and clean, 1 to 20 is the way. You do not know the way. I think 12 to 15. Most wacky, not OP, builds have been able to come online and you've got 3 or so ASI feats under your belt. You actually feel powerful at this point. Turns in combat aren't just, I run and smack a thing once and that's it, like early levels, though I do love the vulnerability of the first few levels. You've got a few decent items, you've got in-world influence at last, and you've got more options for avoiding combat if you need to. Oh, and also for non-combat encounters, especially magic casters. You know, I feel like once you hit tier 4, the game just breaks. It becomes impossible to challenge players, not only because of the higher tier abilities they get, but also because health scales to such an insane degree. Not to mention, all the infamously well-known abilities that can keep health bars in the green. Mainly just ping-pong healing that turns dying into a polite suggestion more than an actual penalty. It feels like the only way to truly keep players in the top tiers of play in check is to literally just break the game. With that being said, my stance is that until you hit level 16 or so, every level gained is a good thing. The players unlock more of their build, and the DM can use more interesting monsters with more varied abilities without fearing the balance of the game. D&D to me is the most fun when it's less a numbers game and more of a game of make-believe, with some core rules to keep power balance in check. At the highest tier of play, players get to feel truly special, and the DM gets to create interesting and unique encounters without the game devolving into nonsense. I think levels 1 and 2 are absolutely asinine though, especially level 1. We, as a community, really need to normalize starting at level 3 unless you're brand new to the game, because level 1 characters just feel so dull. everyone feels more or less the same. Pick your poison between shooting a bow, shooting firebolt, or shooting a melee range bow. And the characters are made out of cardboard. So it's on the DM to use a D4 for damage and kiss the player's boo-boos whenever they get hurt. 5 to 10 is my favorite. It's when you're powerful enough and have enough of your cool shit to finally live out your class fantasy. And you're not godlike enough to break the game. And the casters just don't have spells like Wish yet. 3 to 5. I have a min-maxer at my table, so playing high-level stuff is absolutely insufferable because it's just a million different multi-class features bullshit that he looked up online. It's all elven accuracy and hex dips, and for some reason, his turn takes 4 times longer than anybody else's. We just hit level 21 in my campaign. I'm excited to go even further beyond. My favorite range is whatever I'm playing in, though I like to rep levels 17 plus because they seem to get so much hate online. I have thought about this and came to the conclusion that 5 to 12 is the most fun, with 8 being my personal peak. Being a level where you get your second ASI feat or can have a fun multi-class at X5, Y3 with an extra attack and 2 subclasses. 5 to 10 with it ending at 11, but unlocking some additional subclass stuff. 5 to 10 is the sweet spot, but then you want to get a big power boost in Capstone, which is what 11 kinda gives. But then you also want your main shtick Capstone. So I advocate an 11+, where you get your subclass's next big thing too. So Draconic Sorcerers get their wings. Oh, and Paladins get Find Greater Steed too, if they are into mounted fantasy. 5 to 10 for the main game, then 11+ boon at the end is the way to go in my opinion. Too much final form subclass stuff is gated away at level 14 and stuff. It's nonsense and never sees the light of day. As a DM, I love running for levels 1 through 6. Something about the straightforward combat, limited ability bloat, and huge range of available monsters to run makes this range great to me. I also love being able to throw stupidly high CR things at the party, either as an awe-inspiring NPC, cue dragons, or as a bone-chilling mega threat, which requires non-combat solutions. The highest level I've run in a campaign was level 6. We started at level 2, but I did DM a one-shot for level 8 PCs. As a player, however, I enjoy levels 4 to 9 at most. I have a range of abilities to use. I can enjoy a bit of light power fantasy, and the game still holds challenges that most DMs can accommodate for or create, and fun builds with stuff like feats and multiclassing becoming an option. I've never played above level 9, so I'd be opening to expanding this range of preferred play once I get the chance. My intuition is that I'd agree with others here and still enjoy things up to level 14 or so. 1 to 12. Now 5 to 9 has my favorite gameplay, but it's elevated by remembering the struggles of 1 through 4. 10 to 12 is where some things get a bit weird, but it's still worth it to have our heroes to be able to face off against big bad threats. 1 to 16 probably. 17 plus gets just too much track for me, to the point of being more stressful than fun. It starts getting like that around 15, but I can plan a campaign-ending battle for 16 and 17 so that we don't linger on those levels. It also takes too much time to reach those levels. Just getting there takes years. I like to end my campaigns in 2 to 3 years so we can move on and start something new. I do like levels 1 through 4. They provide a lot more grounded and local experience. A great way to start with entirely fresh characters. I then like to have a time skip between 4 and 5. Story doesn't always allow for one, but when I can have a time skip, it adds a lot to the personal story and goals. Now, I think 5 to 11 is the best experience overall. It allows for the best storytelling about characters, best localized world exploration, and epic adventures with grounded rules. It's the levels of mythological and legendary heroes. Game enters Tier 3 at levels 11 to 13. It's interesting, but requires a lot more work and initiative from players. They pretty much need to drive the story from this point. which is hard for many players, so it often can feel lacking. If it's a very proactive party, then Tier 3 can be a lot of fun. The things that you need to track, though, pile up very quickly, but it's still doable with good notes. My usual campaign range for my homebrew stuff is 3 to 12. Anything past that is a special occasion campaign or one that went on for a really long time, and starting at 1 means I'm running for people who are new to tabletops and need a character creation that's simple as possible and need a few sessions to get used to core mechanics without worrying about class specifics yet. Probably 6 to 8 range. You're not super powerful, but you're powerful enough that you can hold your own and be challenged without easily dying. I play a level 11 Warlock, and I must admit that the game is starting to get rather silly. We've got people in our group routinely rolling in the high 20s and 30s for skill checks, and encounters are becoming increasingly trivial. The whole thing has me rethinking 5th edition. The game was more sensible from 1 to 10. 5 to 11 or 12. At those levels, you begin to be decently powerful, but not yet overly powerful. At higher levels, especially after 15, I usually lose interest as you get too powerful for it to be interesting and fun. I normally would not join a campaign promising to go to 20, but I do strongly prefer to start at level 1 or at max level 2 and work it up. I like to start as a nobody and become someone, so to speak. That is much more interesting than starting out already being a decently powerful adventurer or just here. My preferred starting level depends on the character. I like starting at level 3 if I'm solo classing, level 5 if I'm multi-classing a bit, and level 8 if I'm multi-classing heavily. It takes a special pitch and experience to enjoy level 1, so 3 is really the lowest I prefer. As for the highest level, I've played up to 20 and never had more fun, but it's a lot of hard work. Level 9 is when issues with certain spells become a real consideration. Typically, level 12 is where most games end without needing much extra investment to make higher levels worthwhile. Technically, I enjoy levels 1 to 20, but practically, I prefer 3 to 12. I'm planning some adjustments to try a level 1 to 4 campaign ending at level 5 to see if I can enjoy that, but my prep isn't finished. 5 to 12 or so. Once 7th level spells are on the table, the stakes change radically, and most martial builds feel pretty ineffective for things other than combat, and sometimes even combat doesn't need them, when things like Force Cage are used. 16 to 20. The reality is that usually this level range works fine if the DM is good and the players know what they're doing. The reason so many have a problem with it is because WotC has no support for it, so everything needs to be homebrewed, and 5th edition players are notoriously bad at learning either the rules or their characters. Oh, that's a hot take. 3 to 5 up to 6 is really fun to play around. For my more serious campaigns, we usually start at level 1, but as the story picks up, 3 to 6 is really juicy stuff. 3 to 5 is my favorite. Character build is coming online. You're starting to get more powerful features. Then level 5 hits and you're a powerhouse. But you're not too powerful. 6 to 4. Early levels honestly feel like a drag. Too little options, you can't do anything too non-basic without major help or a GM fiat. Once you get to 6, characters start feeling like real heroes, and they also start becoming pretty unique in their skill set. I enjoy the power scaling of that up till 14 when you feel like a mythical hero, but things are not too crazy yet. Now 15 plus is nice, but a bit too over the top to play for long. After experiencing the different tiers of play, I can say the most fun I've had is Tier 2. In my opinion, level 5 is where your envisioned build slowly becomes a reality, because you already have the option of your first or second feat and can start dipping into some multi-classes, or just keep going into your primary class. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below. D&D Players, what's your favorite level range to play in? And if you ever want to support the channel, we would be eternally grateful to you. You keep the lights running for us, and you get early access to videos. We love you all, be safe, and we'll see you next time. Toodaloo.